The next section we're going to look at seems rather small. However, it is very important. So we're going to look at all of these except for media plus text. So I'll go ahead and just show you that one now. Media plus text is exactly what it says it is. It is media and text on this nice little block. It can allow for great page separation and a nice little design element, but we're not going to spend a lot of time looking at it today. So first we're going to look at columns. Columns are very important, and while we look at columns, we're also going to look at groups. Okay, so these are two concepts that we're really going to want to get down. So I'm going to highlight and delete this. And let's look at our page structure. We have an H2, my first page, H3, common blocks down here. I'm going to do another H3 by typing heading, and I'm going to call this layout blocks. Okay, so now we have layout blocks. Change this to H3. And then under the layout blocks, I'm going to type columns. All right. When I type columns or add the column block using the plus either in the top left or the bottom right, it's going to let me choose which layout I would like. So I'm going to say, let's do the classic 70-30. So 70 on the left, 30 on the right. And I'm going to say, let's just add something nice in here, something we've already looked at. I'm going to start with a paragraph. Or actually, let's start with a heading. And let's do an H4 with an underline and add a block underneath that. And just say, here is some body content. And then on the right, I'm going to say heading with a line. I'm going to do another H4 with a line. And underneath that, I'm going to say list. I'm going to pretend like this is going to be my sidebar of quick links. So I'll just say link 1 for now, link 2, link 3, and I'm going to highlight the text and add a link and just say blocks. And we're going to link to the blocks page just so you get an idea of what it could look like. Blocks. And I'm going to do this very poorly just so you get an idea. This one we're going to link to the blocks page, but we're also going to click on the link, open in a new tab. You see we have options here as well. Okay, so we've got content on the left, content on the right, 70 width, 30 width, and I'm going to say update. So what you're going to see on this page now is it's going to add those content blocks 70-30. Oh, my heading is gone. That's interesting. Let's go back. It's because I didn't actually add anything there. Okay, body content sidebar. That's why my heading was missing. All right, so now we'll have that a little better. Let's wait for the page to save. Okay, it really doesn't think it's saved yet. Let's hit update again. There we go. All right, view page. There we go. Body content on the left, sidebar on the right. There are a couple things that jump out at me right away. First of all, there's not a lot of space here. This is kind of running into the previous section above it. And this is visually not very easy to determine. So we have a couple options here. Number one, I'm going to add another layout element, the horizontal line. I'm going to do the WView shields, and I just really like those shields, so I'm going to put them here as well. So that's between each of my sections. So if I hit update, now we're going to see that our page looks a little bit nicer. It's got a horizontal line with shields, but I really don't like how crowded that is. So there's another layout block that's now available to us, and it's called the spacer. So if you add the spacer block, you can change how much or how little padding you want between things. So I'm just going to say I want 15 pixels of space right here. And then I'm going to click on my 3 dots and I'm going to say duplicate and then move down. So now I have 2 spacer blocks, one on either side. If I look at my layout here, you can see I've got a spacer on either side. And what that's going to do is add padding around my shield horizontal line to kind of space this out. Oh, I've got some breathing room. I like that a little bit more. Okay. So what the problem is now is that I feel like the sidebar isn't really jumping out at me. So what I can do is if I click on my 3 little lines, I'm going to highlight not columns. Columns is the whole thing all the way across. I'm going to go to column, which is a single column of content. So this is the left side. This is the right side. I'm going to click on the right side, and it gives me the option to add the gray. Let me close this. Gray with pattern. It gives me the option to kind of add that sidebar that you're familiar with. We used to call it panel. It adds that sidebar option, and now it's more of a call out block, right? 2 things. It's kind of crunched, and I don't really like that color. So let's change the color. Can do. Let's make it black. And then it's making me claustrophobic with how close it is here. So what I'm going to do is click on the columns parent and change it from regular width to wide width. If I click update, refresh, now you see it's the full width. It gives that sidebar a little bit of room. So if we go back to the WordPress homepage, you can see here, that's what we've done here. This is a 70-30 with text on the left, sidebar on the right, but it's a wide width. It's not the measure width, you know, that's what we call like the little measure in the middle. It's not that small line width, it's the full width of this page. And so that allows you to read it a lot better and doesn't cramp that sidebar on the right. Okay. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. If we look to the content area, let's say that I really want to add a picture here. So I'm going to type image, media library, image, insert. This is great. I'm going to come down here and put some more content. I'm going to say paragraph, more content, and then another image. What are we going to add now? Actually, let's do this the other way just so you get a good idea. Right, so I can do more content, hit enter, and then just go to my plus over here on the top left. I want to add another image, media library. Let's add this image. Oh, it's a beautiful image. Okay, so we're going to add that as well, and then we're going to hit update. Let's refresh this page. So we added some content. We added some images to the left column. All right, look at what we've got here. Here's our body content image, more content, another image. But you see our sidebar has grown to match the column, okay? So try to think there are 2 invisible columns here. And actually, you know what? If we select the left column and add gray with pattern and click update, you can visually see that here we have 2 equal columns, right? So if I start adding content in a new column below that, let's see if I can, let's go down here. And I'm going to add another 70-30. That's wide. Well, you see, this is a second column below it. So we've got one side, we've got the other side, and then this would be a totally new row where we're going to have one side and another side, right? So what if we don't want this? What if we want white on the left, but we want just the sidebar background to be only on this background, okay? Here's what we can do. Let's select all of the blocks within here. So we've got 2 blocks right now. We've got the heading block and we've got the list block. If I select both of those blocks, it gives me this kind of two box little icon. And it says change type of 2 blocks. So if I click that, I can say group. So that's going to take these 2 blocks and they're going to add them to a single group of blocks. Okay. Now that group gives me a lot of power because what I can do is I can add the gray with background to the group, and I'm going to hit update just to give you an idea. This is, you don't normally want to do this, but this is just to show you visually what's happening. So now we've got a group inside of a column. Let's go back here. Let's remove we'll go to default on the column, so we don't want the gray with pattern. Because the column goes full width, but the group only goes as high as the content within the block. So while the column goes all the way down, I think in the old theme we called it equalize heights. So that would equalize height, but we only want that content to be around what's inside the block. Then we don't need to put the gray with pattern on the column. We put gray with pattern on the block, the group block. Now let's say that this is a sidebar we want to use across a couple different pages. We want to have this on all of our program pages, for example. Well, here's what you would want to do in that case. You don't want to have to change a link and then have to go and change that link 8 different times, right? You want to be able to change it once. And we used to do that on our widgets. We would build a widget on one part, and then we would put that widget on 4 different pages. So you want to make a change, you just go to the widget, make your change, and it goes to all 4 locations. We're going to do the same thing here by clicking the 3 little dots on our group, okay? Make sure group's selected. Click 3 little dots, and we're going to say add to reusable blocks. Now I'm going to create a name for this, and I'm just going to call it online training sidebar. Save. So now I've saved that as the online training sidebar block. So if I want to go here and I want to change link 1, and I want that text to no longer say link 1, I want it to say blocks. Actually, I want it to say available. Ooh, I want it to say available blocks. All right. And then I'm going to hit update. You see we've got this nice little white dot. I'm going to say update. It's going to ask me, what do you want to update? Do you want to update the page, the reusable block, or both? Almost always you want to say, I want to update both, the page and the reusable block. So when I click save, it's going to update this sidebar, but it's going to update every instance of that sidebar across my site. So let me show you. If I had inside my column, let's say a separator, and then I want that separator to be wide, and then I'm going to add another block, and I'll do it up here so you can see on the top left. Let's add another block. Here are all the blocks available, or I can click reusable, and then it shows me, oh, here are my reusable blocks with a little preview of what they look like. I want to use the online training sidebar reusable block. And it's that easy to add this group of blocks that you've built on one page to another page. And it's that easy where if I go up to block number 1 again, and instead of link to, I want to say, let's link this to the contact, or not the contact, the help form, right? Let's say, what did we actually call it? We've called it the feedback form, right? So I'm just going to say provide feedback. You see, as I type in the top block, the bottom block changes. So you can imagine as I type here on one page, it would change across all of my sites. Okay, which we don't actually need to link to the feedback form. But there it is. And I'm going to hit update. What do you want to update? I want to update both. And if we refresh our page, now you're going to see we have two groups, horizontal line, sidebar, block on both, no gray background on the left. So if we go to our available blocks, we just covered columns, group, media plus text, separator, and spacer. We're going to save the custom blocks for last. So the next section, we're going to look at the formatting blocks.